Right, hello, it's Thursday night. It's that time again, the Third and Long podcast. My name is Shane Harris in my brand new Newport County t-shirt. Above me is my old buddy Philip Perrin, who is still on a high from those Geordie horrible people beating somebody last night, not important. In the middle, Oliver Butler Henderson. On our far left, our beautiful baby Hope. And as you can see, we have a special guest this evening returning to the show across the pod's very own Andy Davies. Gentlemen, how are we feeling?
Good.
Oh, look at that. We got a new audience now. I love it.
I'm loving that, yeah.
Anyone's favorite professional?
We do have some banners. So yeah, how are you, Mr. Davis? Welcome to the show.
Glad to be back. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, all good my end. I'm gutted not to be in Germany this weekend. I didn't get my media credits approved, and I just basically can't afford to fund the ticket and also the flight. So having a very rare weekend at home this weekend, Sunday at home. And my first time watching Red Zone, I think, all season long, or maybe since the Broncos win. But yeah, looking forward to that in a way. Obviously, it's gutted not to be there, but hoping I can, watch on TV whilst watching Liverpool Luton, and hopefully we can get the win.
Come on, Luton.
Yeah, I was going to say, who, Luton? Have you recovered? Are you still jet lagged?
No, actually, I've been pretty good. I mean, I've done a lot of times. I've come back from the West Coast 8 hours behind, and that's been an absolute killer. But apart from one day, I've literally been all right. I think because I spent a lot of days up quite late, so I'll have a lot of early starts, whether I was getting to Baltimore, whether it was getting the plane to Buffalo. So I had a lot of early starts, and so I think that helped the way. I don't think I ever got used to the American times. When I came back, apart from one day, it was pretty much a breeze. And I tried to go to bed, try to put an alarm on, get up at a normal UK time. I've done it before. I've not done that. You end up, waking up at like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. and your day's gone. But this time I've been up at 8:30 every day, trying to get used to it. And to be fair, it's been absolutely fine. But I was only there for 10 days or so, not as long as last time anyway.
Nice. How are we, other gentlemen? Is gentlemen all good?
Yeah,
we went off
to yeah. I'm all right. Aye, not too bad, but not too bad.
Okay, let's roll on to some football. So obviously Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions pretty much ended Josh McDaniels' reign as a Las Vegas head coach after a 26-14 win with Jamar Gibbs hitting a career high 152 rushing yards and a TD. Fallout from that is the GM, the head coach, and now the OCs all being fired. So that's another 15 years that Mike Davis has got to pay millions and millions of pounds. And Jimmy G has been benched for the rookie Aidan O'Connor. Gentlemen, how do we feel about it? Should we start with Mr. Perrins, our closet Raiders fan?
Nothing closeted about me, my friend. Like every
you're definitely in the closet, aye.
As like every 49ers fan, they are secret Raiders fans, and they'd be lying if they weren't. I am not a Josh McDaniels fan. I've stated it many times that he was an insult to the coaching profession in the NFL. And it's been estimated that Mark Davis has had to cut a check for $45 million to get rid of McDaniels, cutting the same check that he uses to cut his hair.
Very poorly cut.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis, how do you feel about this? I mean, you say you've off to Las Vegas in a few weeks to see the backups against each other.
I can't wait for that. That is there's that famous meme of the Rock and is it the Rock and John Cena, that famous wrestling meme about that famous match it had. I feel like it's that with Zach Wilson against McConnell. I can see NFL memes taking it on, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going
once in a lifetime type thing.
What the hell? That's such a weird roundabout way of saying The Rock versus John Cena. I was with you.
I know. Fair play. Oh, we are the first ones to mention wrestling this week. It's nice to hear somebody else talk about it.
Although this podcast ends up about 20% wrestling every week.
Quite right.
Yeah, but I think in terms of the Raiders situation, I think it was a long time coming. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't get fired last year, if I'm honest, McDaniels. Obviously, it's his second time around being head coach. They say once you can get fired once, but if you go again and get fired again, then that's normally the end of your career as a head coach. I can see him maybe going back towards the old role. I can potentially see him with how they're struggling, even going back to the Patriots in his old role. But for me, I think I'm not surprised at all. I think he was a long overdue firing from McDaniels.
Baby Hope.
So I'm not surprised about this, as nobody is, because I'm not sure if anybody else watched Monday night, but Jimmy Garoppolo was terrible. And I feel like this firing is sort of an admission that Jimmy Garoppolo shouldn't have been signed. But it's going to be interesting to see how the Raiders do for the rest of the season with Aiden O'Connell, because I know if this rookie turns good, then it could be actually a great move, but I don't have high hopes.
Mr. Perrin, do you have your hand patiently up like a good schoolboy?
Didn't want to interrupt Mr. Henderson. So I can't see McDaniels. I mean, the fact that it's interesting that Davis has paid him $45 million upfront just to get rid of him, because usually, and correct me if I'm wrong, when NFL owners fire their coaches, they normally pay them until obviously the end of that duration of that period of their contract, I should say, or until they get hired by another NFL team. That means it becomes void. It's similar to like how we do it in the Premier League, isn't it? But it's interesting that Davis just again, he's cash strapped. The Raiders are a cash strapped team. He just full on just cut a check for $45 million to get rid of him. I can't see him, due to his toxic nature, his reputation in the league, getting a job anywhere outside of New England. Because let's not forget, he was Colts coach for 8 hours and 22 minutes.
No, about that.
Do you forget that famous thing where he accepted it and they did a whole press conference that he then didn't turn up to? He was, when he got fired from the Broncos, he was the Rams offensive coordinator for a season with Sam Bradford, and that went down piss poor. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear online, but he went down really, really, really poorly. So yeah, I can't see it. Like, as long as Bill Belichick is in New England, I think that's his only destination. I don't think anyone else in the league will touch him at all.
Well, if you believe what Mike Valero is saying, that Washington are looking to make a big trade for Bill Belichick, so he could end up in Washington very soonly.
When was the last time that ever happened, by the way? Because I remember when Jim Harbaugh was our head coach, Ollie, and there was a whole thing about, Bulky trying to trade him to the Browns at some point. Has that ever happened where like a team is like in recent memory? Who was it?
Sean Payton this year.
Oh yeah, but that doesn't really count because he was on bloody gardening leave. It wasn't like he was prime Sean Payton.
Belichick from the Jets.
If anybody knows the answer to that one, pop in the comment section. We'll have a little chat about it. Very quickly on this Raiders issue, let me play devil's advocate for a second, right?
Oh dear.
So you've got the Raiders' next game is against the Giants. We've seen this previously with other quarterbacks, and especially with what's called again in the Premiership the new manager bounce. What if the Raiders beat the Giants and the Chargers fall to the Jets? The Raiders would go joint second in the AFC West. So this may change your season around. They may sneak in as a wildcard team.
It's a possibility. Can't see it happening. The only one thing I'm really surprised about is Devontae Adams stayed there. What do you think, Andy?
Absolutely not. I think I can see the Jets, because of his whole thing with Aaron Rodgers, and also the Saints as well with Derek Carr. But I don't think he stays there. I think there's been a lot of us going on with him. You look at last year with the whole thing against the Chiefs with the camera person, and and obviously this year he's shown multiple times his disdain at the situation. And I do think that he will go. Now I don't know whether he definitely will go to the Packers, whether he'll go to the Saints, but I think I'll be shocked if I see him in a Raiders jersey next year, unless they turn around somehow and they trade for quarterback, or unless there's some sort of bright future ahead of them. I can't see Adams, someone who's desperate for a ring. I can't see him staying in Las Vegas.
No, I mean it's going to cost them 11 million for Jimmy Garoppolo to sit on the bench, but if he's released by the 5th of March next year, it costs them no more than one season, which is 11 million, which is what I read earlier on. As you can see, we have Mr. Davies on the show with us this week. He has just come back from his 862nd stint in the States lately, including where he did manage to get to 2 games in 1 day, following Donna Kelsey's ventures. So yeah, you start off at Baltimore on this the early games, and then you end up in Philadelphia, losing or beating your Dolphins. So I had to put that in.
That is right. Yeah. So I got the bus in the morning from Philadelphia, only about 2 hours long, and then literally the bus was like a 17-minute walk from the stadium, so really easy to get to. Thankfully, no delayed traffic. I left on time, the bus, etc. Yeah, did that. Managed to get Shane some gifts, which is still here. Apology, Shane. The weather was too bad today to go out to the post office, but
thank you so much. Whenever you're ready, but it means the world. Thank you so much.
I've got a Ravens hat for Shane.
Look at that! Look at that!
And also, I've got a program and also something else I've not told him about yet. So I'm looking forward to sending that over. So
Andy! Thank you.
It was free, so don't worry about that.
It still means the world, but thank you so much.
Is it Mark Andrews' jersey?
No, it's a.
You know what they say is the thought that counts.
I was going to say Ray Rice, but I think that's appropriate for.
We say worse on yours. Fine, don't worry about it.
But yeah, then I was thinking at one point, the plan was to always leave at 4:00 Eastern, but then I was worried about, am I going to have to leave this game and miss an absolute thriller? But thankfully the game went so quick because it was so one-sided. I only missed the last 3 minutes of the game, so I actually didn't miss a single point when he scored, and then got the train from Penn Station, Baltimore, back to Philadelphia, and then got to Lincoln Financial Field. I think it was like a half an hour metro or subway, and got there with like probably an hour to spare. So that was good timing. But I'm fully aware that I may have gone there one day and there may have been a delayed bus in the morning, there may have been a delayed train. So I'm fully aware that things may have gone wrong. But from my experience, it was pretty easy to do, and it was obviously apart from the result, a great day for me.
And you obviously hit at Buffalo. The Bills Mafia, as insane as they seem like on TV. I mean, I saw the pictures with Fitzmagic literally getting bombarded by them and then jumping through tables and all that crap. Are they as mental as they seem?
Yes. And a stark contrast to the Commanders fans.
Yes.
Well, I say the Commanders fans I was with. There weren't many. It was all Eagles fans. But yeah, that was incredible. I mean, I only saw one person jump off the table. It was actually banned from our tailgate. But someone did do it on the slide. Like when you're in like a swimming pool and the lifeguard's not looking, so you bomb into the pool. But like that, someone took the chance when the skid's gone off, so he jumped off the table. But that was brilliant. I mean, it was a long day. I must admit, it was a long day. I was with a friend of mine, David, who I met last year. Did tailgating from like half 10 in the morning until the game at 8 p.m. So a long day of tailgating. But there were things that made it go quick. There was food being made. There was plenty of cornhole. You walked off this one bit, and there was, people making pizzas on ironing boards and filing cabinets, cooking on a car. There was apparently some guy who does this like mustard spraying parade thing, but I missed that bit. But yeah, I did see Fitzpatrick and Whitworth drinking bowling balls, tooting off horns, and got a picture with Whitworth, which is quite cool. And then
awesome.
Tailgated it, and then went to the game itself. Again, thankfully through David, I got to sit where he sits because his friend didn't make it. His friend who normally has a season ticket there, so I got to sit like 4 seats from the end zone, which is really cool. The 3 fans were louder, but I think overall it was still an amazing experience. That was, and the Bills almost lost, which would have made it the perfect day.
The Bills should have lost. That game, to be fair. I mean, we heard that when the Bills come over to the UK, how loud they are. There was about 40,000 people were pure Bill fans when they're at Tottenham. It's got to be so much louder when that Meadowland is rammed full of Bills fans.
Orchard Park.
I'm just charging my Mac a second. I'll be with you. I'm just going to charge my Mac. I just realised it's not.
That's a poor preparation, that is.
Oh, I know.
What's the word? Master my craft here, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that.
A different angle. Hopefully this is all right. There we are.
Hey.
There you go.
I've got what your question was now. Sorry, mate. What was the question?
So obviously we had the Bills fans were so loud. I've never heard a UK game as loud as when the Bills fans were over here. It must be even worse when it's, as Ollie corrected me, at Orchard Park.
Yeah, I'd say it was definitely louder, but not. I don't think it was too much louder than I don't think it was too much louder than what we had in London. But being right in amongst the Bill fans, there was not a single Bucks fan anywhere near where I was sat. It was all Bills fans, and it was just loud. And literally, they were like Eagles fans as well. They were non-stop the whole game. Apart from when their team was on offense, normally third down, they tended to quiet down, and there was a bit of sort of tension in the air because it was obviously off back of a few dodgy results, and there was a few fans before the game that really nervous. And then when they were there, when they were struggling at times, there was a bit of animosity, a bit of tension to the air. But when they scored, that was loud, and it was just, every single minute. There wasn't a single minute where, apart from those occasional moments when they were on third down on offense, apart from that, certainly when the Buccaneers won the ball, especially when they won third down, my God, was it loud. And it was, you couldn't hear a thing. I don't know how Baker Mayfield heard anything he was getting from Todd Bowles. It was amazing. And yeah, just to, but again, they knew I was a Dolphins fan and they were very nice to me. Again, like the Eagles game, a lot of friendly banter. But yeah, I can't say anything more highly about the Bills fans. They were so nice to me in the tailgate. Everyone I met was so accommodating. All the staff was nice. There was loads of things you could do before the game. There was like live bands and all sorts. And yeah, I thought the actual game itself, the stadium as well, was really cool because looking from the outside, it looks like, I'm thinking, how's it got so many fans? It looks tiny. It's got a bit of the Stoke Stadium to it in terms of you've got little gaps in space in between each stand, little gaps. But the actual stadium is actually 50 feet underground. So when you're actually in your seat, unless you're right at the top, you're actually underground. So that was really cool.
Oh, wow.
You don't really know how big it is until you actually get into the stadium. Sometimes you go to a stadium, you can see what it's like from the outside. But this one, literally, you couldn't see anything unless you were actually in your seat and in the stands. So yeah, really cool experience. I'd say, yeah, probably the second nice out of the four I went to, probably the second nicest stadium, I'd say. Really cool experience, and really enjoyed it. And I definitely want to go back when they build a new stadium. That's my plan anyway, to go back and see the friends I made there and watch, hopefully, Dolphins thrash the Bills in 2026.
You say they're quite nice to you. I don't think they'll be quite nice to Patriots fans. They are. You've heard they are absolutely horrid out there to the Patriots fans because obviously the massive rivalry. That's they've been owned by the Patriots for the last 20 years.
Well, I've heard vice versa with Bills fans that have come to New England for games. I've heard it's the same there.
It was, to be fair, right, okay. When we went in Boston in September, when the Ravens fans came over, they were really friendly. All the fans, there was no animosity. They were really good. The tailgating were mixed with each other. It was really good. It was, I was quite impressed with that. Baby.
So I know I don't mention it much on this podcast, but I actually went to go watch the Niners play the Vikings. I'm not sure if you're aware, a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
We are away.
Yeah. And I went with my friend who was a Vikings fan.
Look who it is, a 49ers fan talking about the 49ers again. Jesus Christ.
Again, all the Niners fans were really nice. My friend who was, full Vikings attire, not like a full Viking, but Viking shirts, and they were, bantering with him, saying he wasn't cheering when his team was doing well, high-fiving him when the Vikings did good things. And then the one guy next to us was actually so nice and so touched that we came all the way from the UK. He went to the gift shop and bought us $40 of gifts each.
Wow!
And you didn't tell us that.
He hasn't got it.
He's got a
chain. He did.
Yeah.
He talks about the chain.
Yeah, I've got a 49ers chain now.
Wow,
I haven't seen that. Does it spin on the end? Does it spin? No.
No. It only comes out on special occasions. The chain.
Oh yes. It hasn't come out for the last 3 weeks, mind you.
If the Niners are in London next year, it'll be coming out.
Oh dear.
They will be in London, I think. I think with all the Talk Sport stuff and the Leeds, and I believe they've got an extra home game this year as well. I can see maybe being 49ers, Cardinals, or something like that. But I can see 49ers definitely going there next year. With all they're doing for the UK fan base, I think it's only a matter of time before they do go to the UK.
As long as it's not the Vikings game, that's good for me, because if it's in the Viking game, I'm put in a tight spot with tickets.
Jack and your other mate. Obviously, you've been in the press box for the last 2 games of the Tottenham. How was that experience? That must have been absolutely epic.
Literally incredible. I mean, it's got me a paid job last week. Met a girl called Terry Jacob Bryant, who she works with Give Me Sport, and through meeting her, she put my work forward to the manager, and I'm about to get a job after as a result of that. So yeah, I think for me it is the most amazing 3 weeks of my life. I mean, not just doing a game, but also getting to go to the event at Battersea Park, getting to interview OC Manura, interviewing Kenny Stills on multiple occasions, and obviously the games itself, and to go into the training sessions. Although the training sessions, you only got about 5 minutes both times to actually watch the team, so it's a bit of a con really. But you get to I got to ask questions to Derek Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Mike Vrabel pre-game, Doug Peterson the week before that. Then the game itself, getting to go to press conferences with the likes of Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, Patrick Queen. Like the week before, asking questions to Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, and more people like that. It was just incredible, because I've been to games for years. I've always seen the staff walk in by the field access and all that, and getting to walk around the stadium. I was thinking, you know what? One day, especially when I ramped up my interest in doing this kind of work in 2020, I always thought, one day I hope that can be me, and to be able to walk on the field or get sideline field access and all that, to get all that, watching people like Odell Beckham warm up, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, incredible. And funny story, I don't know what that mentions to you guys in private messages, but I was trying to find the media bit of the Titans practice session. I've passed around from place to place. No one seems to know where the hell I was meant to go. So I was walking past the hotel, and Derek Henry just walks past me. Just walks past me like as if it was literally like that. It was, and then obviously I said to Mark, "Can I get a photo?" And he goes to me, "Yeah, do you know who I am?" So I was a bit unsure how to take that, because my whole mission the whole 3 weeks was to ask him a question, because I really enjoy watching him play. So I'm not sure whether he was being arrogant or whether he was just saying all this because he was confused that a British guy knew who he was. But that was surreal.
That would be what it is.
Yeah, but it was all round. Yeah, it was fantastic. Met some amazing people. People I already met. People like from franchise tag boys like Freddie Hall and Sky, and the people like Dre and Sam and Ash from 888 Sport I've met before. So getting to see them again was good. Meeting new people, getting to chat to Neil Reynolds. And Dominican Sue, told him he's the first jersey I ever owned. That was nice. Had a nice little casual chat with him.
He is huge.
Oh, he's massive. Like you see on some players, I remember seeing Nick Bosa in person, and he's just an absolute brick shithouse. But seeing players like Dominican Sue who retired from the NFL, and just how big he is as well, was just brilliant. And he was so nice. He was just so friendly. He was just so chilled and so relaxed. Who else? I remember walked past Sam Queck and Darren Fletcher. Tony Pacelli was in the queue next to me, getting a cup of tea. So yeah, that was just a fantastic 3 weeks.
Shano, I know you.
Like I said, but I've yeah, of course I have. Andy, I've spoke to you in private messages in the past, and I think I speak for all of us on the pod that just want to say that we're so happy for you and the progress you've made and getting where you are and doing what you've done. You are proof positive that dreams do come true, and a lot of us, I can probably speak for the boys as well. A lot of us aspire to do a lot of what you've done as well. So well done. But like I said, we're really happy for you.
Oh, thank you. And just to say, I've seen your team twice now this season. I still don't get excited over watching them. It's not changed my opinion of them.
What do you mean, man?
I still never ever sit down and watch TV and go, I can't wait to watch the Ravens. So I'm still waiting to be convinced. But I think they're actually the best team in the AFC right now. But I don't actually think I ever get properly excited to watch the Ravens play. It's obviously I know the talent's there, and I think they could even win the AFC on current form. But I just think I've never once sat down on Red Zone and gone, the Ravens are playing today. Can't wait to see them play. I've generally been more.
I was going to say, I was just being so nice to you as well.
I know. I've generally this season more looked forward to watching the Cardinals than it's crazy because they're a far worse team. But that just shows I'm not the biggest fan of the Ravens, but yeah, they're a good team. I can't deny that.
That's why he left early from MTT.
I feel like they're on Sky like every week. The Ravens.
Yeah, I mean Lamar Jackson, isn't it?
This is the third week now. Third week in the last 4, I think. Brilliant.
Shano, the floor is yours. I know you've got so many questions about MT&T. You know, obviously speaking to the players and stuff
Of
like
course,
that.
let's not.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, of course. Let's not turn this into the Baltimore Ravens podcast because Ollie, we don't like it when other people turn this show into their own agendas, if you know what I mean. Just like Andy, what was M&T Bank Stadium like? Oh, here we go. Anyway, what was M&T Bank Stadium like? God knows, I'll never get to go. Like, what was it like? Because when we went to the London game and we watched the Ravens, I was speaking to some people from Baltimore outside the stadium, and in my may or may not have been inebriated state, I said to them, "Oh, I moved to Baltimore tomorrow," sort of thing, and they were like, "Why? It's a dump." And I was like, "Oh, I'd still go," So what's the area like?
I mean, if I'm honest, I was only there literally to watch the games. I didn't see like the actual main tourist spots or anything like that. But what I can say is that I never went. I went there purely to tick off the stage and say I've done it. It wasn't something that I had ever planned on doing. It wasn't like a top stadium on my list. Like Arrowhead and all that, and the Lambeau Field were all high up my list. But Baltimore never was, and I went really there not with much expectations. But then I get there, and it was just a fantastic stadium. I mean, the outside itself is just unbelievably nice. It's just really, really nice. I mean, you've got obviously autumn's the best time of year in America. The leaves are just sensational, but you've got all these trees around the stadium, which are really cool. You've got obviously statues of Ray Lewis, and for some reason I know they were Baltimore Colts, but Johnny Unitas has got a statue there, even though it's the Colts, not the Ravens. But it's got statues there, and then you just walk around it. And I had a bit of time to walk around it, and I just thought from the outside, looking in, just sort of fantastic stadium to look at. And then you go in, and that's just insane. I mean, it's a sea of purple. I think it was nice to look at than Lincoln. I think the atmosphere was better in Philly, although it was still good in Baltimore. But in terms of the stadium itself, it was just unbelievable. I mean, it was very warm. I actually got sunburnt from there, which is crazy because I was then wearing a coat and jumpers that evening in Philly.
Wow.
But, I because the wind was so fierce, I didn't really feel the warmth. So I get in, and my face is just burnt to a crisp. But yeah, I thought it was brilliant. And you've got to go at some point, Shane. You have to, even if you go there and you're staying in New York, you can really easily get to Baltimore. If you stay in Philly or Washington, it's really easy to get to Baltimore. Actually, it takes just as long to get from.
As I've always said, if I go to America, I'm very much going to go and get a coffee and probably stay. Just get lost on purpose and stay out there,
Yeah, I don't blame you, but it actually only like 5 minutes more by drive to get from M&T Bank to FedEx Field than it is from the White House, which is mental, considering that. Because FedEx Field is actually in Maryland. It's not in DC. FedEx Field is actually in Maryland, which is crazy. But yeah, no, I would recommend it. I met a guy next night. I don't want to talk bad about the guy because he is sort of he may be getting into sport. I don't know, but so I met this Australian kid next to me. He goes to me, "Oh, I've come from Australia, from Sydney, to watch the Ravens play." So he goes, "So I'm thinking, oh, this guy must be a huge fan." His wife got it for I think it's his 30th birthday present. So this guy's girlfriend or wife, she'd got him this gift to go to Baltimore, fly from Sydney to New York, and then go to Baltimore for the game. So you think at that point, if it's this big birthday present of his, he must be a massive fan. He goes to me before the game starts. So how long's each quarter?
No way.
I'm thinking okay, so I just found things like he only knew Odell Beckham and Lamar Jackson. He thought Matt Stafford was still the quarterback of the Lions, and I'm always open for new fans getting into sport. But I'm just thinking if you've flown from Sydney for this game and it's a big birthday present of yours, you would assume from that he's some big fan. And at least he knows the rules. So that was very bewildering, and he didn't know how long each quarter lasted. I had to tell him how long each quarter was. That was a interesting moment. I was a bit confused by that.
Yeah. We have our resident fan, Mr. Clover Fielding, saying good evening to us, gentlemen. Just thought I'd put that out there. So good evening, Clover.
Clover, how's it going?
Probably one of Phil's students. Shano. So obviously you've had, what was it like interviewing like the likes of Harbaugh, Etienne, Lawrence, Doug Peterson, these players who we see week in and week out, for 18 weeks of the year, literally we idolize them. What is it like being so close proximity to them?
Yeah, that was really surreal because, especially Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh, because it was the only one where I was at the front row. So literally, I was on the front row. So literally, got such a good view of, it was John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Queen, and I've literally forgotten who the fourth player was. But getting to ask questions to people like Trevor Lawrence and that was just, for me, really surreal. I mean, the Kenny Stills thing was the most surreal because when I first properly watched the Dolphins, he was sort of the first player I fell in love with at the Dolphins. Even though he's never really a wide receiver one. I just loved him when he played for us. But getting to, I think the first chance doing it was Doug Peterson at the Jags practice pre-Bills game. And I was lucky actually because there was only two of the journalists there because all the rest had gone to the Bills practice session because they'd only been there for one day, whereas the Jags had been there all week. So it helped in a way break off the band-aid, if you like, rip off the plaster, because it helped me I was basically almost forced to ask a question because there was no one else really there to ask one. So that sort of really helped. And then going on to then next week, it was sort of much easier. But yeah, that was really, really surreal. I mean, it was, a lot of pressure because it's a bit like an auction house. Everyone's still trying to butt in and try and get their questions noticed. Obviously, you put your hand up, but sometimes they come to you. But it's a lot of time, it is like you're trying to really fight to get your question asked. And there's a lot of times there's sort of that mutual sort of, so John or so Trevor, and it's like that constant sort of interruption. But yeah, I've done it before. I've done it for Brighton games. I've asked questions to like Graham Potter, Lewis Duncan, all them. But to get to do the NFL was really cool as well, and that was really surreal because you see these people on TV, particularly the callbacks like to Trevor Lawrence, and getting to ask him a question was just so cool. I mean, I'm not sure Calvin Ridley liked my question because I think he thought I was alluding to the betting year-long ban because of betting, but yeah, everyone else was lovely. I mean, ATM was probably the most enjoyable person, the most animated, I think, person being interviewed, the most lively. But Lawrence was knackered, and he wasn't very talkative, but he did thank everyone at the end for waiting so long because he was the last person to be asked questions. But yeah, overall, that was really surreal, and it sort of really just helped me gain that experience.
How do you think you'd sort of fare if you did it for the Dolphins? Because I know if I did it for the Ravens, I'd be a bag of nerves. Do you know what I mean? And I'd be like, oh yeah, all right, sort of thing. I'd be proper fanboying. How do you think you would cope if you had to do it with the likes of Tua or Tyreek Hill or perhaps Jalen Ramsey?
Jalen Waddle, definitely. I mean, Mike, if Mike Gesicki was still there, I would have been like, I would have been probably not able to speak. But, Jalen Waddle, who I love. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, someone I've really grown to love the last year or so. That would have been cool. I mean, Mike McDaniel has really won me over this year, and I think that would have been my favourite probably because I think McDaniel probably is the most fun person in that team. I think he's obviously Tyreek Hill's fun, Jalen Waddle's fun, but I think McDaniel is just such a funny guy, and I think that he'd be really good for media. I think some players, I don't think like Derrick Henry wasn't great with media. He wasn't the most talkative, but I think Mike McDaniel would really give some nuggets and some really good, soundbite to use. And I think he would just be, I know even today I saw him interview with Germany. Yeah, he just seems like such a great laugh. But I think, I remember I was in the room with Jurgen Klopp once, being a Liverpool fan. He's like an absolute idol of mine. And was
that mute? Was that remove button?
Yeah.
You've actually removed yourself.
Andy, you mentioned. Sorry, I was going to say you mentioned the Calvin Ridley question. What was it?
Oh, I was about to ask that as well.
What was it now? It was something to do with does he feel reborn in Jacksonville? That's all it was about the fact that he's had I think I said it was his third most yards in any game of his career. And I said, do you feel reborn in Jacksonville? And I think he was like, I think, and I thought someone else asked him a similar question, and he didn't like that either. I don't know what I think he just thought I was, alluding to. I don't. Maybe he wasn't. I may be overthinking it, but I do think maybe that's what he thought because he didn't really want to answer our question too much. I think he thought I was, referring to that. But it was the only one really where I had a bit like, but all the rest were like Mike Vrabel was really. Tannehill was so nice. Vrabel answered questions really well. Harbaugh was just an absolute boss. He just basically started off and goes, "We got this injury, got this injury. I'm glad to get the win." He basically stopped about 10 questions being answered, in the opening minute. He was great. And the Ravens media were actually so efficient. Like,
describe
right,
that's a question. That's a question.
yeah, literally, like, everyone else just went, and he literally just moved all of the standard repetitive questions. And literally his media team were like, the Ravens, all the players and staff, it was like, well, we're doing this, then they're off. So they were just so efficient. And I think the Jags let it go on quite long, but the Ravens were like, bang, ask the questions. When we say it's done, we're done, we're going. So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, with Klopp, it was like my brain just froze. I had all these questions planned. One got answered the first question. I was like, my brain just froze, and I just got completely just starstruck by Jurgen Klopp. And I do think that, particularly even my favorite player is Jalen Waddle, but I think if Tyreek Hill was in the room with me, I would probably get a bit starstruck because he's been such a great player all these years, and he's been, I think, by far, if not our second best, if not our best player this season, him and Tua, and he's brought me a lot of joy this last year and a half. So I think it became a bit like when I start asking questions to players in London. Is that once I've asked one or two, I think I'll be fine. But I think, yeah, I think it would have been fantastic to go, and I would generally have traded all those 3 games I did in London to go to Germany because it's my team. But I can't fault my time in London because I've had such a great time doing it, and I'm looking forward to doing it next year. I'm hoping Dolphins are playing there, but I think 2 European games in 3 years, I just don't think we'll be playing for a few years in the UK or Germany.
Yeah, I'm in Frankfurt with my partner in 10 days' time, so I'm really looking forward to that, being out there, seeing all that. They've got the 6 Super Bowl trophies. That just seen that Winovich out there, who I should have worn his jersey today actually, and Nikovic is out there, so I'm so looking forward to that. Make sure my Winnow jersey's on as well that day, because he is a legend, that bloke.
That'll be amazing. I think because it's only the second ever game in Germany, and it's because it's the second game ever in Frankfurt. I think it's going to be. I think this weekend's going to be electric, and I think next weekend's just going to be just as electric. Obviously, the matchup isn't as good. Obviously, Dolphins, Chiefs, Colts, Patriots is a very different, contrasting set of games. But it should be, obviously, for you being a Patriots fan, it must be amazing but it must be exciting to be able to do it.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, it's quite interesting because obviously they've had 20 years of Patriot success over the last 25 years since Tom Brady's entered the league and stuff like that as well. So they've brought a massive fan base over there. Obviously, they are the German franchise over there. They are one of the German franchise over there. And obviously, Indianapolis has the Peyton Manning background and all that experience coming through as well. So they got 2 iconic franchises coming over to them, which is massive. And obviously, you've got Dolphins, who are the big team, one of the big teams at the moment, and Kansas, who are in the middle of a dynasty themselves in a minute. So there's some really good interesting matchups over there.
I don't know how Germany got that game. I don't know how that game was given to them. I mean, I know before the season started, no one thought maybe be 1 and 2 seed, but I think with the Tyreek Hill factor, I don't know how they managed to get that. I did read an article about it saying that because there's so many games that Chiefs games could be on prime time, just finding a game to do it on. But I think something that the Bears wouldn't give it up because they only play every 8 years there and stuff like that. So I saw some reason behind it, but I'm still just stunned that they got a game as good. I've never seen UK ever get a game as good as this. In the 12 years or so I've watched the sport, I've never seen a game on paper anywhere near as good as that game on Sunday.
One more question before we go on to trades. Do you see a UK franchise happening? Or European league or anything like that could...
I think I'm sort of constant. My opinion constantly changes about it. I mean, on the one hand, I think it would, first of all, I think if you had 8 games in the UK or 8 games in Europe, it would solve that ticket issue people have of not getting tickets, because every year it's because more it's getting popular. Now it's getting really hard to get tickets for, especially if you want to get pairs or 3 or 4 times. I think if you had 8 games a year, especially in London, or maybe 4 games in London, 4 games in Germany, it would be a lot. I think it'd be a lot easier. There'd be a lot less problems with that ticket issue that we have. People can't see their team play because they can't get a ticket. But on the other side, I don't think we need one because everyone's already got their team. Some people may change, and I think if you get it for 20 years, you'll get a young fan base that will all follow what we should be London Jaguars. That would be most likely one. But I think. I know you guys. I'm sure you guys same thing. I wouldn't change from the Dolphins. I know you wouldn't change from the Patriots. Nines or Ravens, but I think they find it hard to get a franchise and sell loads of merch. But I think they'd have no problem in terms of making money from tickets because everyone wants to go games and there's such a demand for games. I do feel that if you were to have 8 games a year in Europe, they would sell out still straight away. Where I think some people think maybe if you had 8 games a year, they wouldn't sell out. But I can guarantee you, if we had 8 games a year in London or eight games in Europe, every ticket would be sold out straight away. There'll be not empty seat in the house. I'm sure of that.
Well, they are looking at Madrid as well the next couple of years as an added venue as well.
Bernabeu, right?
Oh yes, the Bernabeu. Obviously, and the they put the new stadium, so the pitch goes under. I know it is insane. As we know, then Tuesday was Halloween Eve as well. There was some few spooky trades coming in. Hey, he's back.
Hey, he's back now. Look.
Halloween is his favourite time of year. If you say Halloween, it just appears. It's like Beetlejuice. If you say it 3 times, it appears.
big fan of Halloween.
What is going on in Washington with the release of or the trade of Motor Sweet and Chase Young to their team and the Bears? Mr. Hope, would you like to lead us up? Had you got your hand up?
First thing I want to say, Josh Harris isn't just having a fire sale in Washington. He also traded 3 76ers on the same day, including the star James Harden.
Yep.
That's a basketball, that is.
Yes, that is. But I think what Josh Harris is trying to say is, I'm the boss here now. I want to build my team my way. So I'm going to trade away anything for draft picks and we build it. And I think some people say a good way to show you're the boss in Hollywood is to fire someone on your first day.
Yep.
So maybe that's his way of doing that by trading away 2 of his stars and saying, this is my team now.
I am so glad they did it the week they're meant to play the Patriots, though. I will say that.
The thing is, I still think you're going to lose.
Yep. How do you think, you two, Chase Young, how is he going to complement Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa? Wrong Bosa, brother. Whoops.
No, not just Bosa. The whole defensive line is now elite.
As I said the other. Oh crap! Actually, no, we didn't. No. When did it break? Did it Tuesday that it broke?
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
All right, so we want to. So
you probably said to me yesterday.
Oh yeah, too far. Yeah, we actually talked about it yesterday. I see it as a win-win. To be honest, he's going to be a free agent in the off season anyway. We've paid a 3rd round pick for him for next year's draft, and if we don't keep him on, we get a 3rd round comp pick in the 2025 draft. So I just see it as it's a loan signing, isn't it? And you should never fall in love with loan players. That's the age-old excuse.
That's a very good buddy of mine once told me.
Yeah, and it's it was a move that surprised me. I know it had been like talked about in the ether of like potential trades that Lynch would go for. There's more problems on that 49er defense, and I talked about it on Monday night about that. As great as Kyle Shanahan is as an offensive mind, he's not a man manager, and I think that's where we've lost with not having D'Amico and Robert Saleh, because when you watch them on the sidelines, they're very much the hype man. They're very much getting the players on board on both sides of the ball, and I think that's been missing this year. I think Steve Wilkes is just as cold as Shanahan, and I know that Baby Hope is not a big fan of fan of Wilkes. He wants him gone. I would be surprised if he remains on the staff for next season. I don't think he's going to get sacked now, because I just think our previous DCs have been linebacker coaches. So that focus has always been on the front 7, whilst Wilkes is very much a pass coverage guy. And I don't know whether not getting the pressure on the quarterback from the defensive linebacker point of view has made our secondary as weak as we all thought it would be in the offseason anyway, because you take Travarius Ward, who gives away penalties like candy and Halloween on every Sunday. I think it's a great pickup. I don't know how much of an impact it's going to be. I think Gregory's been a really, really good pickup from the. Where did he get Gregory from? Broncos. I think he's been quite good in the 2 games that I've watched him. I I think it's a good pickup. I just don't think it's what we needed. And again, he's playing for a contract because he's playing now to see who's going to pay him the big bucks for his next team. So it's a win-win scenario. I just don't think it's what we needed.
Ollie.
So I've got two questions. The first one is mainly for Phil.
Go on then.
And do you think that there's a possibility that we do sign him long term after the season?
Who are we going to get rid of? Because I was thinking this, because I think we'd need to get rid of. I mean, you can't give about $100 million, dollars in cap space to just your defense or your front seven, because Fred Warner's being paid, Bosa's being paid, Armstead's being paid, Hargrave's being paid. Did I say Warner? Warner.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot, and thank God Brock Purdy's still on his cheap ass contract, because there's going to be a lot of players in the offseason they're going to want to get paid. Debo's on a fat wage. Trent Williams, I think this year is our highest paid player on the offense. CMC is going to want to get paid. Ayuk's going to want to look for an extension. So where is this money going to come from?
And my second question is, have you seen that Kyle Shanahan said he was going to have a private conversation with Steve Wilkes about potentially coaching from the sideline from now on?
Oh, is
I
he,
don't
up
think
in
that's
the,
going
is
to
he
make any
upstairs? Is
difference.
he?
Yeah, he's usually upstairs, and he's going to have a private conversation about him coming to the sideline.
Can I just pick up two things? And this is for my favorite part of the show when we talk about NFL history. Who is the 49ers' greatest ever defensive coordinator? Greatest ever.
No idea.
I don't know, whoever was the DC when Bill Walsh was the coach.
George
Answers on a
Seifert.
postcard.
George Seifert. George Seifert was a defensive backs coach, and he was our DC from 1979 up until 1988, where he then took over as head coach when Bill Walsh retired. So he's actually won 5 Super Bowls as a coach. He literally DC'd from the gods. And he said that when he became head coach and he actually was doing it from the sidelines, that was the biggest change for him, because he got so used to being up in the gods. Now, this is George Seifert, who had Ronnie Lott, and he had some amazing, amazing defensive players. I don't think being on the sideline is that much of an issue, depending on, one, how good of a coach you are and how good the players fit your scheme. I don't think him being on the sideline is going to make a difference whatsoever, because Josh McDaniels was on the sideline. Did he make a big difference for the Raiders? Ooh, depends on where you sit.
I can hope, okay? Don't burst my bubble.
Andy, is there any trades that jumped out to you and gone, whoa, that's...
No, actually, wait a second. Andy, what do you think about the 49ers?
Go on. Tell them you don't find them an attractive, entertaining football team. Go on.
Oh, I do. I'm a big Shanahan fan.
That West Coast offense.
You can't come again.
Yeah, I know you've lost 3 in a row, but I think you guys are great, and I was definitely on the opinion before the last 3 weeks that you were going to win the NFC, and it's very easy. I think the Eagles will give you a good run now, but I think if everyone's healthy, there's no one better in the whole league than you guys. If you've got Trent Williams healthy, if you've got McCaffrey healthy, Debo healthy, everything's going right. I think you guys are the best team in the league by a mile. Now, I don't think you guys will keep Chase Young on, because why would you pay money to a guy that's only played, I think, 12 games across 3 years? Yeah. And then looking at the stats now, I've been looking at it, only 2 games started in 2022, only 9 games in 2021, only 6 so far. Only 6.5 sacks since the end of the rookie year he had. And he had a great rookie year, but since then he's not been that good. And I'm not going to say he's a draft bust, because I think that he's got enough tape on him to say he's not one. But I don't think he's been the player that we thought we were getting after the first year, or certainly what they drafted for. And I think that, why would you pay money to a guy that's never seen the field too much? He's missed a lot of games, and I do think that's why they've gone for third round pick as a draft pick, as what they've given the Commanders. It's pretty much risk free. If it doesn't work out, I think even if you get him just for this year to take you over the line, and then you send him off somewhere else, I think that will do them. And I think if he's good enough, I think they'll find a way to pay him.
Mr. Phil.
Sorry, just to go. I mean, just 2 things that I think I talked about with Shane last night that I want to pitch to you guys as well. Thing one, with Young joining the 49ers defense, he's now our highest sack lead. for the season
already. Season, isn't he?
He's got more than the rest of the defensive line. And secondly, God, what's my point? Yes. When Trent Williams was released, when we traded to get when we got Trent Williams, I should say, from the Commanders, one of the big things that came out of it was that he had an attitude problem. That's why the Commanders, or at the time the Redskins, I think, weren't that bothered about letting him go. Now he's come to the 49ers. He's had a massive impact. He's one of the captains. He's highly respected. He's loved by the team. Do you think this is an example of promising player in the wrong environment, and so their attitude is causing problems in the organization because they believe that they are being either held back or they're not in the right environment to succeed? I think, like you said, it's a win-win situation because he's not had a great time. I think this is his best season in the league. He's had his injury problems. The Commanders are a universal laughing stock anyway. They're up there with the Raiders in terms of how stupidly half-assed they are, as an example. Do you think that maybe it is different environment? He's got Bosa, he's got Warner, he's got Armstead, he's got Williams, he's got CMC, he's got George Kittle. He's got these people around him that will not put up with any lackadaisical attitude or crap. And I think maybe that change in mindset for an athlete who wants to win, who wants to be successful, even if he's only with us for the remainder of the season, I think that might put him in good stead.
Yeah, I think what you'll get with him as well is that when he was with the Commanders, him and Sweat, both the same thing, both the sack leaders of the team, they were the standout players. I think it's almost that he's now going to go from, rather than the big fish in a small pond, if you like, he's now going to go from a smaller fish in a bigger pond. He's been around winners, been around amazing players. I think therefore now he's not like the standout player. He's got so many. He's got Nick Bosa, he's got Armstead, he's got Fred Warner. He's in an amazing defense. So he's not going to stand out as much because he's around so many good players. I think therefore, he actually might perform better because he's not got that pressure on him to be the main guy. And I think now he's going to be in amongst these players. I think it'll just help him improve. And I think a bit like in football, when a player joins a good team, they sometimes get better because they're playing with better players. Like James Madison's the example this year, and I think that he will potentially, even just a little bit, even just season, or maybe he might prove you wrong and be there for 3-5 years. But I think, that sort of change from being the main guy to being one of the guys, I think actually might help him.
You just pleased me, so I'm very happy upstairs. She's a Spurs fan, and my youngest is a Spurs fan. It's actually quite scary now. Looking at your front seven, okay, ESPN have got Chase Young as your starting left defensive end.
Yeah.
Say you double team Nick Armstead, you double team Hargrave, Greenlaw, or Warner. You can only double team one or two of those players, and then you've got someone else coming at you. It is scary. Going back to my original question, Andy, which trade has jumped out the most at you?
If I'm honest, there weren't that many that, to be honest, I was at I thought that's a game changer right now. I don't really think there's too many that really blew me away. I mean, I like the restore Douglas to the Bills trade. I like that one, but I don't think there's any particular ones that really. I may have completely forgotten some, but my memory, there's no one that really stood out to think, that's gonna change their team's luck this season. I think there's a lot of good players. I don't think any great players have been moved on. I think there's just a lot of good to average players. I don't recall any sort of major moves that really have gone and made me think, that's gonna be a game changer.
Ollie.
Did you guys see the Bills injury report yesterday?
Yes.
They had all the injuries, and then there was Rushul Douglas did not practice reason, just got here.
Actually, something that's gone under the radar, as maybe one thing that's gone under the radar for the Bills, they've signed Leonard Fournette from free agency.
Yeah,
bit of experience in the backfield for him.
Playoff Lenny.
Most definitely. Love that
Burger
one.
Wing Lenny.
Burger Wing, Buffalo Wing Rennie.
I will say, actually, I did like Josh Dobbs to the Vikings. I think that he was the only real shining lights in that team this season. And I think that him going to a better team around him, I think that's good for the Vikings because they want a good run of form. 3 wins in a row, 4-4 they are now. So I think that's a good one. And he's been around so much. He seems to be able to change quickly and adapt quickly. So I think that's a good one for me. I think the Cardinals are fully in tank mode now.
Ollie, last one before we go on to week 9.
I was going to. I think the Vikings, but with Kirk Cousins, I thought the Vikings had a chance to make the playoffs at 4-4. Obviously, with their 6th round pick, I think his name was Hall. I don't think they do, but I think Josh Dobbs gives them an outside chance of still making it in the back doors, maybe the 17th wild card.
They're not going to win it. We're going to play for a wild off. The Lions are too far ahead of everyone else in that division now. It's now, right, who's going to finish second? Who's going to get the chance for the wild card? So in about under 3 hours now, because we're still on daylight sun time hours.
Daylight savings time in there.
Some weird time that between this week where it's America's an hour closer than it normally is, which is great for us. We have Thursday Night Football with the start of week 9 with the Titans at Steelers, and then we've got Germany, our first Germany game of the year. There are obviously the prediction games, which we'll talk about in a bit. Is there any of the other games that really go, oh, that's so spicy to you guys?
Bills Bengals for me. I think I like the Ravens Seahawks, but for me, I think Bills Bengals, I think is really interesting because I think the Bengals have really started slowly, but they seem to be back to form, and the Bills have been a bit hit and miss. So I think that for me is probably my standout one. That isn't the Germany game.
Ollie?
Rams Packers, because I love watching underwhelming quarterbacks battle it out.
If you take out the primetime games for me, I don't think it's a great slate for standout games, if I'm honest. There's the Cowboys-Eagles, which is going to be a good one. I know that's a prediction game, so I won't move on to that. Apart from that, I'm kind of interested to watch Vikings-Falcons, and I have no idea why. But I just think it could be interesting. But apart from that, I'd like to see the Panthers beat the Colts just for Minshew reasons. But apart from that, none of them really stand out to me that much.
I was going to say, Phil, do you want to join me? Do you want to join me in this one, Philip? Our weekly pilgrimage to Minshew Mountain. Do you think you're going to get the Duke this week? Oh, I'll have a listen. See? Oh, yeah, a bit of voodoo child coming at you. Do you think he's going to do the Panthers this week, boys? He's going to come back on track?
Yes.
Yes.
Look. We've had this before in previous times. Now, Andy, I don't know how much of a wrestling fan you are, but if you've listened to the show, you know that me and Shane are massive wrestling fans, and we love Minshew Mania. Now, we've gone for like a couple of things recently where Minshew's lost a couple of games, and we can compare them to Saturday night's main event where Hulk Hogan got screwed out of the WWF title against Andre the Giant when there was a clone referee that counted too fast. Do you remember that, Shano? Do you remember that? Yeah.
I do indeed, Dave and Hebner.
Last week, he went up against the Ultimate Warrior, which took place at WrestleMania 5, but at WrestleMania 6, no, that's a lie, at WrestleMania 7, he's going to go up against the Carolina Panthers, which is essentially the same as WrestleMania 7, where Hulk Hogan took on Sergeant Slaughter. And by God damn it, that American hero is going to lay the leg drop on that Carolina
And he beat the piss out of him.
The Ultimate Warriors that were the Saints defense.
Yeah, they're a good defense. Shut your mouth.
I can second that. They are a very good defense.
Yeah.
They're not like the Browns.
I didn't say
the Browns are the Bret Hart defense. Everyone knows that.
The Undertaker. I just said literally they're a good defense. And can we also just acknowledge, going back on the Saints for a second, that no one has ever picked up that Derek Carr blatantly wears eyeliner. Like he's he plays for two teams. He plays for two teams that wear black. Can we just say that like Derek Carr is a full-on emo, and we full-on respect?
Oh, emo.
He is 100% an emo.
Avril Lavigne's second biggest fan.
Oh, you know, right? You know when he comes out, he's going to play like a Black Parade. When I was a young boy, my father.
We sing a lot on this podcast, and we play a lot of music. I'm surprised we've not been told off yet. Andy, what is your take on Gardner Minshew?
We sing so out of tune that they can't do us for copyright.
Andy, what's your take on Gardner Minshew?
Oh, it's it's like one of those players. It's like Fitzpatrick is a player that we all know isn't the best, but the personality just makes him so likable. I think we had the same thing as Jimmy Bullock back in the day in the Premier League. But I think Minshew has been, I think this year probably was the best backup available. I think he was the best backup in the league. I can't think any others were better, but I think
Donald.
No.
Don't be that.
Let's not
Even
go
Phil
there.
don't believe that.
Straight, no.
No. Minshew, I think Minshew is good for a bit. I don't think he's kind of quarterback that you can rely on him for 17 games. I think if you give him a one-off game, I think you could back Minshew to win you that game. But yeah, I think the Colts, I think they're doing the right thing. I think they learned from the luck situation not to keep your quarterback out there. I think they definitely learned some stuff, and I think that'll help Richardson long term. But I think with Minshew, I think they've got one of the best guys to come in and do that. Surprised they didn't go to Josh Dobbs. The Vikings did that, but I do think that he's absolutely fine. I don't think he's going to blow away, but I do like his connection with Josh Downs so far in a few games we've had. So yeah. I do like the Colts offense a lot, and I think there's a good running game there with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, and I think there's a good team there. But Minshew sort of, yeah, he's okay. He's good at times, he's bad at other times, and that's who's going to be. He's basically a regen of Fitzpatrick, just with longer hair rather than
better hair and a better moustache.
I love that.
Can I just add that he actually is statistically a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick's QBR rating is 82.3, and Minshew's is 91. Just throwing it out.
Well, Andy, as half of the show was agreed, he would probably start for 75% of the franchises in this league.
Three max.
What?
All right. No, that's absolutely. You are so full of it. I hope. Like your hatred for this real American hero is so toxic. It's so toxic that I'm going to launch a complaint. I'm going to give this podcast 1 star for this needless.
Don't you dare! We need all help we can get.
Anyway, Andy, just before we go on to the other predictions, as a actual journalist and with journalistic integrity, who would you say is the worst quarterback ever in NFL history? Would it be Trent Dilfer?
In history, Dilfer's definitely the worst starting quarterback to win Super Bowl. I'd say.
But he won a Super Bowl.
Did he though?
You've seen the team he's with. I think Ray Lewis won that more than Trent Dilfer.
Still. Part of the team. Quentin Fortune won a Premier League title as well.
Yeah, and Dejan Lovren.
Oh,
exactly.
What was I going to say now? I threw me off guard. I forgot what your question was now. Sorry, Phil. What was your question?
Oh, sorry. Is there a worse starting quarterback in NFL history than Trent Dilfer?
Oh, I think certainly the biggest bust, I think, is Jamarcus Russell. But probably the worst, I'd say, is either Mike Glennon or Nathan Peterman. I think they're, for me, the
Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf was pretty bad.
Josh Rosen,
yeah.
He was the one that was at the Bucks for ages. Was it Webb? No. There was Sam Bradford, who was ridiculously rubbish, and there was one that was at the Bucks.
Has been in the Bucks for ages.
I've got one. Tyson Bagnet.
Oh my!
Very topical.
No touchdowns in either game, right?
He ran in one against his start when he came in injured field. He ran one in.
Yeah, but I don't think. Did he throw for a touchdown? I don't think he did he?
Tommy DeVito. That's got to be up there.
You ran one in.
-9 yards.
That's it. Boys, us sitting by here just talking nonsense, right, has done more than the New York Giants offense last week.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Ollie, last one before you go on to predictions, mate.
I was just going to say that I've actually forgotten my point, to be honest.
Sorry, we distracted you, but
we started talking about Tommy DeVito, and I've forgotten what I was going to say.
We got so excited. Have we actually found out if he's Danny DeVito's relative? Of course.
I doubt it. I think Scott Hansen would have said something if he was.
Josh, just really quickly, I've just brought up Minshew's stats. The most games he's played for was his rookie season, which was 14 games for Jacksonville, where his games he played 14 for them, and he's threw for over 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns.
I feel like they're always saying, "Oh, he had such a bad game against the Saints." Maybe he just had a good game the week before, and the Saints is his actual level.
Oh my God! Literally,
that's a good take.
Oh,
right.
God, just leave him alone.
Let's go on to week 9 predictions. I am still in the lead. Woohoo! And I promise you, I'm not. Yeah, I promise you, I'm not cheating. I've got myself on 23. Ollie and Shano are on 20, and Mr. Parent is now in the other continent on 14. So, Andy, what we do every week, we select 4 games. It's either Ollie or myself. I've let my partner Kelly choose one as well. These guys need to get involved and choose 4 games as well. Yes, Phil.
Can I do double or nothing this week? Like, if I get everyone I get wrong, can I get double?
Every time you get one, you get double what? So I take a double
point. No, just like, yeah, you know what? Yes, let's do that. Let's literally do that this week, right? Double or nothing.
You're making up your rules, are you?
No. Just, are you that intimidated that I'm going to get them all right?
To be daft,
Ooh, okay.
So for every one I get right, you give me 2 extra points. For every one I get wrong, you take 2 away from me.
So you're going to end up with like 2 points.
Minus 9 yards.
Yeah. Well, why don't we? Why don't we?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh.
I didn't get that last year.
Comment.
I didn't get that last year when I was so
as the reigning champion. Hold on, by the way, hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Oh, he's going to put a star next to his name.
As the reigning champion, I should be given the opportunity.
Right. So the 4 games we've got are obviously the Germany game. We'll always use the international games because it's spectacular. It's brilliant to have them over here. Buccaneers against the Texans, which is, for me, is a fascinating game. And then we've got probably 2 of the games of the week, which is the NFC West matchup of Dallas against Philadelphia.
East.
Yeah, Dallas against Philadelphia. And then we've got the Bengals against the Bills. Go around the table and then choose them, talk about them, and go from there.
And we can't do our own teams. We can't do the games with our own teams in them. Otherwise, the Ravens and Seahawks would be a shoo-in.
Unless they're playing each other.
Unless, playing each other, although an international game. That's how it works. Okay. Hence, you got Ravens last week. Andy, as you are our special guest and your team are playing in Germany, lead us off with Finns against the Chiefs.
Now, do I go with my head or my heart? Going to go with my head. I'm going to go for the Chiefs. I think we haven't beaten a team with a winning record since week 3 last season against the Bills. Wow. So for me, I think until we do that, I'm not going to say we're going to beat a team that's had 5 straight AFC Championship games all at home, and they're sort of reaching that time of year where they start to get good. And I know they lost last week. I know Mahomes is ill, and that's my only positive light is he going to be fully healthy? And also, I think they fly tomorrow, but whereas we arrived on Tuesday, I think. So we've got that, as we saw with the London games this year, all the teams that arrived early, they all won. So that's my one thing I say. If we're going to beat them, I'd have more confidence beating them in Germany than I would in Arrowhead. I had more confidence beating them than the Eagles 2 weeks ago. But I just think until we beat a good team, I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to do that. So yeah, I'm going to give the win to the Chiefs.
You've just made a little boy very happy. I think I've just heard him cheer. I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, yes, you boys have come over on Tuesday. That is a big factor because you get that jet lag out your legs and all that as well. You got that exposure. I know MVS isn't very happy leaving his dogs over in the States for a couple of days. Which I saw that, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I think KC are just going to nick it. But it's going to be one of those ones who has the ball last will win the game, I think. It's going to be a brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game.
Yeah, I think as well we have to try and score early because I think if we go down 7 points, 14 points, as we saw against the Bills and the Eagles games, I think we have to force ourselves to the ball more and that causes problems. But I think if we can establish that lead early, we've got a chance. But if we don't do that and we fall 7 points behind, 14 points behind in the second quarter, I think that could be some problems. But hopefully we can get the win. I get lost take with my friend Dolphins fan group because I've been to 5 games live and we've lost them all. Dolphins.
Shame you're not out to Kate and going to Germany.
Yeah, I know. I got a Chiefs fan friend who said that to me as well, and I got a lot of Dolphins fans who are glad I'm not going.
Mr. Hope.
So I'm going to disagree with you both and go with the Dolphins. If this game was at Arrowhead, I think the Chiefs were nailed on. But I think the coming over on Tuesday and the fact that the Chiefs didn't convince me last week that they're an actually good team and their defense looks suspect, and I'm going to stop your guys off offense. I fancy the Dolphins to win this.
Shayna?
If somebody bumped into you on the street and said, "Oh, I've seen that Third and Long podcast. It's brilliant. But what is the NFL? What does it mean? Can you show me a game?" This is the kind of game that you would show them. This would be a shootout. This would be a punch-for-punch brawl, knockdown, drag-out, slobber knocker, as they say. And I'm going for the Chiefs.
If I would show them a game, it'd be KC against LA Rams when it was like 45-50. That was a hell of a game.
I always say it would be the Niners versus the Saints, the 48-45 game.
What do you reckon, Mr. P?
I agree with Baby on this one, the Niners Saints game.
And your prediction?
For this one. No, just listen to the end of that conversation. I do agree. I hate the Chiefs with a passion, so let's go Dolphins.
Hey.
Okay.
Which game would you show people, Mr. Davies? So this is the game that you need to get into.
I'm really sorry, Ollie. Patriots Eagles. Super Bowl 52, 51. That game for me.
Nick Folks fluked his way to a Super Bowl ring game.
Yeah, that game. I think for me, I think when I first started liking sport, I was always of that opinion that I hate the adverts. I only watch the highlights. But when I watched the Falcons Patriots and I watched the Patriots Eagles later, I realised that game alone that you could actually watch a game with the adverts on, and I think from then on it's just been I've not missed a single week since. But I think that for me is the best Super Bowl I've ever seen. I think it's better than the Eagles Chiefs because there's no dodgy refereeing decisions in that one. I think just from the Philly special to Philly's first ever Super Bowl, everything else, and how good the game was, and how good that stage is as well. I think that for me is always a game I say 21. Or maybe I'll put them on maybe Dolphins Ravens last season when you come back from
let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
Falcons Patriots Super Bowl is another one.
Yeah. Minnesota Miracles, another one as well.
Phil, you've got a question. Hi, Mr. Fans. I won't be here long, but I wanted to confirm: are you coming back to Lincoln? Can you let the cat out of the bag?
Callum, I'm sure. All right. So if this is Callum from my year 10 film class, you all got a letter sent home. Was it yesterday or the day before, confirming that I will be coming back to Lincroft in January time. So yes, for
Yay!
all the students that are listening, yes, I will be coming. You all got told anyway. You literally had. It is Callum from year 10. Yes, you literally had a letter sent home, and you all got told in lesson and all that jazz. So it's not like it's some kind of secret. I'm pretty sure people have told you anyway. So yeah.
It'll be if my boy when he comes back in January, I'll lay a smackdown on him.
I think Callum's happy about that.
Right,
let's
go on to Bucks versus Texans. I think this is an interesting game. I really do, actually. I don't know why. There's just something going right. You've got the up-and-coming number 2 pick, the pretender to the throne, that is CJ Johnson against the person with the most the most fight in his career of Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a certain Baker Mayfield, who has got the biggest chip on his shoulder going over. And I think the Texans are going to win this one. Andy, what do you think, my friend?
I think Texans as well. I think the Buccaneers have been in really bad form recently. Actually, they were okay against Bills, but I think even that win, that loss they had, the actual second touchdown they got, it was a bit of a fluky sort of touchdown and the 2-point conversion, the same things. They really should have lost that game by a lot more, but I do think the Texans, I think they lost last week, so for me, I think they'll get back to winning ways. I've been a big fan of Stroud. He's my favourite quarterback out of the draft. That wasn't Stetson Bennett this year. And I really root for him hard. So for me, it's I think Texans win. I don't think it'll be a pretty game. I think neither team were great last week, but I just think the Texans. I think they got a bit more. I think they got a bit more about them. I really like D'Amico Ryan, so yeah, I'm going to give the Texans to win.
Nice, Shano.
Given the fact that the Bucs have lost their last 3 games, I like to think it's this American way of always want to win at any cost, gotta win. And I think the Bucs are sick of losing, and I think they get the win in this one.
And Baby Hope.
I agree with Mr. Harris on this one. I have the Buccaneers to win, which is against the bookies because the bookies have the Texans as favourites.
Mr. Perrins.
Can you do the eye roll?
No, he can't.
I can't. My eyes. Basically, I'm going to go with the Underbaker. He's going to rise from that 0-3 from the last 3 encounters, and he's going to make those Texans rest in peace.
John just come in and enter the Undertaker.
Yes, John.
Our resident Raiders fan. No wonder he didn't come on the show earlier. He's more...
I was going to say, John, why weren't you piping up earlier when we were talking about the Raiders?
Do the Cowboys have enough to stop the Eagles' tush push, the steamrolling of the offense? Jalen Hurts, Andy.
No.
In a word, no.
Yeah, boys.
That's all I can say, really. I just think the Cowboys. I don't know. I think they've had some good wins, but I think they've had some bad losses. And the Cardinals one and the 49ers ones were. I think the Eagles, to me, are the most. I think maybe the most complete team in the league at the moment. And I just think that they're in really good form. They're hitting form at the right time. They've got, from memory, I don't think any big injuries at the moment. So I'm going to give the Eagles the win. Very simple as that.
I am going to completely and utterly agree with you. I think the Dolphins are not the Dolphins. The Cowboys are a bit of a fraud of a team. They overachieve and overperform of what they actually are, and their secondary without Trayvon Diggs isn't as good, despite Gilly being in there. So I'm going with an Eagles win. Baby.
As much as I want to disagree with you guys, I can't predict the Cowboys to win. I'm going Eagles.
Shano?
I'm going to start calling the Cowboys Nemesis or Wicker Man or Megaphobia because they've got more ups and downs than a roller coaster. I was going to go with a roller coaster analogy, but you get me. And I can't disagree with you lot, boys. Eagles to win.
Are you going to make a clean sweep of Mr. Perrins?
I think it's actually disgusting that the Cowboys have actually won a Super Bowl in more recent times than the 49ers. I think that's disgusting how much money that they spent in Dallas Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys. It's been ingrained into me since my birth. It's my birthright to hate Dallas. So I'm going to fight Eagles fight along to victory and wear my Vince Papale jersey and rep the Philadelphia Eagles.
Isn't one of your parents a Cowboys fan?
My mom is a Cowboys fan.
Hold on, right? Last game of the week, otherwise known as DeMar Hamlin game.
Sorry, that's not as funny. Sorry, I don't know why I laughed. That was so involuntary.
After that horrible situation, I'm so grateful the Glad's alive. I want to see the Bengals and the Bills have a proper full-on game that's going to add, but there's no controversy, nothing going on. How is this going to end up, Andy?
Now, I'm not saying it just because I'm a Dolphins fan, but I do think the Bengals win. I think that I mentioned before that Joe Burrow for me is Tom Brady 2.0. Not because of the draft thing, because Burrow was obviously number 1 overall pick, but I think he seems to have that clutch team when it comes to big games. I think same thing with the Patriots. You'll know from personal experience, Ollie. Start the season always in a bad way. I saw a lot of Patriots teams go 1-2 or 3-4. A lot of teams they would start slowly, and I do think that with Burrow, I think he's showing similar traits with that, and also when it comes to playoff games, he's normally performed and just become a different player in the playoffs. So I think they're starting to hit form at the right time. down the stretch, the most important time to do it. Just in the Bills, there's something not quite right there. They've won games, but they should have lost to the Giants, really, if the Giants had better clock management. And the Bucs game, I know they deserved to win, but they could have easily blown it away as well, that Hail Mary at the end. So for me, I think the Bills are, I think even if they lose, they'll still be a team. I think they'll battle them till the final day when you play in Week 18. But I just think for this game, the Bengals' current form, I think the Bengals will get the win.
Yeah, Buffalo have not impressed me these last 3-4 weeks. They were poor against Jacksonville. They were poor against New York. They were poor against Tampa. They've been really, really poor and lucky to get 2 wins out of 3. Cincinnati are going to put them to bed very early, I think. So I'm going to Bengals on that one. If I could write properly, Shano.
In the immortal words of one Marshall Mathers, will the real Josh Allen please stand up? This week, I don't think he will. I think he'll still be sat down. Bengals to win.
Ollie.
Joe Burrow's got 2 calves now. Bengals.
Joe Burrow's got 2 calves. Mr. Perrins.
Oh, you know what? I was actually going to go with the Bengals, but because all you lot have been piping them off, I'm going to go with the Bills. Yeah, let's go, Josh Allen.
Could you say that with any more conviction?
Well, yes. Let's go with this, Josh. Even with their incredibly unpredictable play calling and their injury list, I'm going to go Bills because I'm losing anyway. So YOLO.
Yeah, well, I mean, I as the Bills fan shouted at me as he was leaving Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tell Sean McDermott he can eat a dick. Were his exact words to me as he was leaving the stadium.
Did he say how he wanted the dick? Did he want it big tartar, or did he want it medium? Or
John's come in with Dolphins, Bills, Bucks, Cowboys.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Ooh, interesting. So we have come to the end of our show. It's been a bumper show because we've had Andy on, and he's deserved the extra time that we had. Especially, it's been great to have you on, mate. It's brilliant to learn about your experience in America and how you're going on that. We will be live on Spotify tomorrow at 9:30. I think it comes up on my phone. It comes up on there, even though I set it for 8:30. Tomorrow morning, as per always, we're also going to be on wherever you get your podcasts. So look out for us. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a listen as well. We'll be back live on your screens 8:30 Monday night. The 4 of us will be back. Andy, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.